Hi. I know everybody's kind of stir crazy now. I mean, it's been a long time, something like 7 weeks. It's tough. I'm feeling it. I'm sure you are, and your parents and everybody. Um, this story I want to talk to you about. Still, when I was growing up, of course, uh, Christmas was always my most favorite time of the year, and my dad would go out and buy a Christmas tree and put it up, and um, we had a train that ran around the tree, and little houses and a church, and we used these little small the light bulbs that really burned really hot. I mean, if you touched it on the tree, it burned. I remember one Christmas, my dad always fixed the tree. He'd buy any tree, it didn't have to look like a Charlie Brown tree, 3 or 4 branches. One year he sent me out to the tree lot to get some branches so he could fix the tree. And I remember it so vividly that I had gym shoes on. It was snowing really hard, but it was that kind of wet snow. And it was about 3 or 4 blocks to the lot, the tree lot. And I was walking, my shoes were getting wet, and it was getting deeper and deeper, and I struggled and made it to the tree lot, and I asked him for some branches. And my dad always sent me because he thought that I would, a little kid, they'd give me the branches and things like that. So I go back home, my shoes soaking wet and everything like that. I bring them in the house. My dad was waiting for me. He had his drill out. What he'd do is drill a hole on an angle into the tree, and he'd take his knife out and whittle the branch down to make a point, and he'd shove it in the tree, and he'd do it all the way around. But by the time it was done, the tree looked pretty good. And we had the train run on the outside in the houses. I loved to watch it all the time, and that's probably why I became such a fanatic about trains and things like that. But that spring, I was coming home from school, walking home from school, and our front door was open. We kind of lived on a second and third floor, and I walked up the long flight of stairs. The door was open, but everything was wet and smoky. What happened was our house caught on fire. The upstairs, the attic and that, where we stored all our Christmas stuff. So the train and everything. I remember my mom sitting in the kitchen with their head down, and there was big holes in the ceiling where the fire department came in, and water was still dripping down onto the kitchen. And my mom was very, very upset. I guess the chimney from the next door apartments, maybe an amber came in and got into our attic and started the fire. That's what the fire department said. But that's when I became a train and fanatic about electric trains and things like that. So I started collecting, and it was a long time ago. And speaking about fires, though, I have an interesting story. My two buddies, when we were very young, probably 7 years old around, it was before my broken leg. We were playing at Petey's house. It was Petey and Danny and Johnny, me. And we were playing around, and he lived in a two-flat apartment, and they were on the first floor. And upstairs, there was a big kid, a kid a couple of years older than us, but he was a bully, a typical bully type kid. And he heard us downstairs. Petey's mom and dad were at work, and so the big kid came down and he started throwing things at us, marbles. And we started throwing stuff back at him, and then he started throwing the stick, wood matches, you know. He started throwing them around, and after he chased us out of the apartment, we ran down the block, and we're playing in the alley, but we were throwing all kinds of stuff. But I managed to pick up the matchbox and put a bunch of marbles in that he was throwing at us, and I had it in my pocket, and I ran down the street. We were playing in the alley, and then all of a sudden we heard all these fire trucks coming. And hey, Danny, Petey, let's find out where the fire is. Hey, it's really close. They're going down our block, and we're running. And we finally get to Petey's apartment, which was the end apartment on the corner. And sure enough, that's where all the fire trucks stopped, at his house. And I guess one of the matches started on fire, and they were putting everything out. And the whole neighborhood was there. So my mom was behind me, and I pulled out in my pocket the matchbox, and I was looking at the marbles, and my mom looked down at me, and I looked up at her, and before I knew I was in trouble. So Petey and Danny and I run back, and we wanted to hide somewhere. So we're only 7, so we run up the stairs of my house, and we run in the kitchen, and we hide behind the kitchen table. Well, you could look underneath the table and up above the table, and my mom caught us in the corner, and she was so upset, and we explained it wasn't our fault. It was the kid upstairs, he was throwing stuff, and he started throwing the matches. Well, how did you get the book, and this and that. I had nothing that I could get out of this, and she called Petey's mom, and Danny's mom came over, and I didn't see these guys for at least 2 weeks. They were all banished from playing together. But that's something that happens. And, you got to be careful. Don't play with matches, as the old saying goes. Another thing I remember when, especially wintertime, was always fun. And we had at the park, because we were in Chicago, and they would flood an area, and they'd shovel the snow up and make a mound around the ice rinks and things like that. And we'd go ice skating, play hockey and things like that all the time. So one day I was with my friends, and we were playing hockey, and after the game and that, we were walking home, and we're all carrying our skates, across our shoulders, and some of the boys said, "Hey, let's go skitching." Skitching is where, and back in them days, it's, the 50s, all the cars had big bumpers where you could grab onto the back of the bumper. And skitching, when it was a lot of snow on the ground, they didn't plow the streets much, so they were all full of snow. So what the kids would do was hide behind 2 parked cars, and when a car came by, we would jump out and grab onto the bumper and slide on our feet, see. And it was a lot of fun, but I'm sure it was dangerous, but we didn't think about that. So one day they said, "Well, let's go skitching." And I said, "Well, I don't think I want to do that, not today." "Okay, then you take care of all the skates." So I had all the skates on my shoulder and everything else, and they were skitching. They'd go back and try it again. And this one guy, they started skitching, and he slammed on the brakes, and all my friends left. They ran away. I was standing on there with all the skates, and the guy came up to me, big guy, and he, "Give me the skates," and I had nothing to say, "Okay, sir," and I handed him all the skates, and he says, "Tell your friends you'll get them at the police station." So he went to the police station, took all our skates to the police station, so we had to go get all our parents and go down to the police station, get our skates back. And of course, our parents lectured us, the police lectured us about doing this, how dangerous it was. So that's just another of the many things that happened to me when I was younger. And I want everybody to take care of themselves. I got 2 things I want to do for PE. I just finished painting my pickleball court. I thought I'd show you how to play that. That's really a cool game. So until then, thanks. Bye.